All right, everybody, and welcome to the Cold Email Masterclass, which, in my opinion, is the best darn cold email class on the whole of YouTube and internet. Of course, I'm biased because this is my own creation, but I'm literally going to leave no stone unturned and make sure that we go through everything that there is to cover so you could get up and running with your cold email system. But first, why would you want to send cold email? Why would you want to do that? So there's really three main ways to get clients, right? So if you're an agency, if you are fulfilling, you're doing some kind of service for clients, right? You're working with small businesses, maybe chiropractors, dentists, roofers, med spas, right? There's pretty much, we can boil it down to three ways of getting clients, right? And the first way is to do paid advertising, right? So ads. Okay. The second way would be to do social, like organic. You make posts on LinkedIn, you make posts on Facebook, you go into groups like that, right? And then so you have all of these platforms, and then you make posts and people DM you, and then you sell them on the DMs, or you invite them to a sales call from the DMs, right? And the third way would be outbound. Okay, outbound. Okay, these are more inbound, we call them, because you're attracting people into your ecosystem, and this would be outbound. And the two main ways of outbound are calling, right? Call, and email. So cold calling and cold emailing. Now, I'm not saying that you should negate all the others and only focus on cold email, but if you do it in tandem, let's say you do some paid ads, you do some social media outreach, and then you send 10,000 emails per month or more, it's pretty darn good. Now, there are people out there that will tell you that cold email doesn't work and you shouldn't do it. Just like everything else out there, there are people that make it work and there are people that don't make it work. But it also depends on your niche. There are certain niches or niches, depending where you are, that's how you pronounce it, that, for example, they just don't check their emails, right? So, for example, I'm in the real estate niche, right? So I work with realtors. My clients are realtors, really make sure they check their emails all day, right? Whereas from what I heard, dentists, for example, they don't really check their emails. So you have to also make sure that your niche can benefit from sending cold emails, and most of them will, like even dentists, because you only really realistically need that 1%, right? Volume negates luck, as Alex Hormozy says, right? So if you send 1,000 emails, okay, in a day, let's just say per day, which is a lot, right? If you send 1,000 per day and 1% of 1,000 people is 10 people, right? And that 10 people can be interested in your offer, can reply to you, get on a sales call, and maybe you can close two out of those people. So you really, yes, it's very small numbers, but every client could be worth a potential $1,000 per month, right? So really, if you can do this, it just makes sense to do it, right? So just to show you how kind of my results. So for example, I was sending this campaign to realtors about expired listings, and you can see I sent 795 emails sent. 72% open rate. That's pretty good. Not to brag, but that's pretty good. 575 out of 795 opened the email, right? So 72% open rates. Now, my mistake here was that I provided a link. Okay, I was testing different ways, and only you see 2% clicked on that link. So it's actually better, and I will show you in this training, not to do a link, but to just ask them to reply to that email, right? And the reply rate will be much higher. Whereas my reply rate was super low because they already had a link that they clicked and they went to view that link, right? So that's where kind of I screwed up in this campaign. The one before that, I unfortunately don't have any, it's not stored. I don't have the history to show you, but it was much higher reply rate because I actually asked them, if you're interested, please give me a quick reply with your phone number and let's chat. That's how you should do it, okay? So today I'm going to walk you through exactly what we need to do to go through this system, and you can set this up for yourself, okay? And I'm going to divide this into three parts. With part one, I'll show you how to get the list of leads. So we need a list of leads to email, right? That's what it comes down to. We need a list. to email of prospects. If we don't have that, everything else falls apart, right? And most people are not just sitting on a list of emails in their niche, right? Some have it, but most don't, right? Then I'm going to show you how to set up your cold email system so you could do all the tech and stuff that you need to execute this. And then we're going to talk about sending your email campaigns, actually launching the thing, right? Now, there is going to be quite a bit of tech details involved. It's not super complicated. If you can watch a video, you can follow along and click or pause when you need to. It's going to be totally fine. But just to warn you, it does get a little bit technical. So, because there's certain constraints that we have, okay? Now, if you don't want to do this, so the reason why we're doing this ourselves is because we're trying to save money, okay? This is not free by any means. So that's the first thing you have to understand. It works, it's great, but it's not free, okay? It's gonna cost $100 to $200 a month if you do it yourself. Now, if you want it done for you, I also have this option, okay? And this is a company called Growth Rhino, and I have them right here. I'll link out to them, Growth Rhino. This is actually a friend of mine in the agency space. And while I do paid advertising, paid ads as a service for realtors, he does cold email outreach for entrepreneurs. So he can do everything that I'm going to teach you how to do today. He can do it for you if you want, but he's going to charge you probably more expensive than you would have done it yourself. So I don't know his pricing, but it's definitely going to be more. It all depends. If you're a busy agency owner and you just want it done for you, just click the link and get in touch. I'm not an affiliate or anything. He's just a friend of mine, and I know he does a great job, right? You can just click. By the way, this resource will be provided below. If you don't want to pay that kind of agency money, right, as an agency client, but you want to do it yourself, if you're a small agency owner that wants to explode their lead growth, then you'd have to stick with me and do this, okay? So without further ado, let's just go on and let's talk about how to get this set up. Now, this Google Doc is going to be linked below this video. Some of these are affiliate links, and if you click on them, I may get and sign up, I may get a small commission at no extra cost to you. And more often than not, you'll get an extended free trial, or it'll be a little bit cheaper for you depending on the offer, but at no extra cost. If you want to directly Google these companies without using the link, right, you can totally do that. But if it doesn't hurt you, and that's a good way to give back to the channel because I do this for free, plus you may get an extended free trial or something. Okay, let's talk about that. I've mentioned Growth Rhino. That's a done for you, completely done for you agency. Now, how do we, and I showed you the kind of results. So 72% open rate. Just before we move on, I can't stress this enough. Deliverability really matters, right? If your emails end up in the spam or junk folder, it really matters. Nobody's going to open it. Okay, you can't end up in the junk folder and have 72% open rates. Okay, I know you could get higher. Even I've had 85% open rates. And again, realtors are really notorious for opening their emails, reading them, and then never replying. But it depends on the niche, right? And the way we do this is we use a cold email software such as Smart Lead. Okay, and I'll talk about this in a bit. And what happens is Smart Lead is so smart that when you connect your email accounts to them, they actually do what's called an email warm-up. Okay, and I'll show you really super quick. So for example, right now, my campaign is paused. I don't have any emails running in it, but it's sending emails every day back and forth to itself and to each other and to other members of Smart Lead, and it's keeping my inboxes warm. That's why a lot of people end up in the spam folder, is because they don't warm up their inboxes and they just start blasting, right? You can't do that. You really have to warm up your inboxes. So I'm going to walk you through industry best practices today as we go along this, but I just wanted to give you like a little preview. So first, let's talk about getting that list of leads. So how do you get a list of leads? If you already have a list of leads, fantastic. If you have a list of past client leads, they're not really cold emails, right? So you don't need to go through this. You can just reactivate them. You can put them in like MailChimp, for example. But if you put cold emails that have not opted into MailChimp or active campaign or something else, and you start doing that, you'll get banned very quick. Like they will bounce, they will go to spam, and they will get people complain and the anti-spam laws, and you'll get caught, and like basically you'll get cut off from that email service. So we want to do this correctly. Okay, so let's talk about getting that list of leads first of all. So there's a few ways. I'm going to show you a couple of them. Okay, so first and foremost, you can come into Google and you can just literally type in your niche and buy email list, right? And there's going to be the top few, may, if it's a sponsored, it may be an ad, which is fine, but you can actually see realtor email list, real estate agent email list. So one of these that I found for me as a person that serves realtors is this one, real estate agent data. Okay. And this was literally a website that they sell real estate lists of realtor emails. And as we know, there's over a million for sure in the States, right? So they say 2.3 million realtor email lists. Now you can go by state. So for example, see, you can just go Alabama only or Arkansas only. And I believe it's about $90 for one of the state, for one state, or you could get everything, all 2 million for, I got it for $399, 400, right? I just downloaded. With 2 million emails, you're all set forever. You're set forever, pretty much. Okay. I paid money for, I straight up bought this list online on this website, right? So maybe if you're serving somebody another niche, roofers, whatever, you can also Google and buy a list straight up like this. To be honest with you, the quality of this list was hit or miss. So I only focused on a few states. I did Florida, Texas, and Cali, right? Those were the three that I focused on. Those are the states with the most realtors anyways, right? And I'm not bound geographically to my area, right? That's totally fine. That's one way to do it, is just to go through Google and to see if you could, if you're not gonna, chances are you're not gonna get it for free, but you're gonna have to buy it, right? Remember I told you this is not free, right? But I'm showing you how to do it on the cheap. Another resource is, for example, maybe they have some kind of aggregate website for your niche of, let's say, all the best dentists or all the best chiropractors or all the states, whatever, I don't know, electricians if you're targeting them, right? And then so realtor.com, find realtors, okay? And that's the beauty of realtors. They really like, here's my number, call me, but they're not the easiest of clients because they're always feast or famine. If they sold a house, they have money. If they didn't for a few months, they don't, right? So we could literally, with this, we could go and find, let's say, agent. Let's go, for example, Houston, and then search, and then, yeah, see, there's going to be a bunch of, so you could put it in a spreadsheet and do that. Now, if you value your sanity, which most of you do, and your time, you won't be manually, you can literally pick up the phone and call. Honestly, like, if you're like, the tech makes your life easier and faster, but sometimes it also slows things down, right? So if you literally want to get a client like tomorrow, then you're going to cold call. You could scroll down and cold call through this. But if you're sending emails, right, then you could manually copy and paste into a spreadsheet, or you could use something like Chrome extension. It's called No Coding Data Scraper. If you type in No Coding Data Scraper, that's it right there. That's their website, but you want the Chrome, so you add to Chrome. I actually have it on my other Chrome. And what happens is that once you click it and then you sign up for it, and what happens is that it allows you to, it automatically puts all of this info in a spreadsheet for you, basically. Okay, so here I have it in a new window. So for example, I'm here on Houston. I have a bunch of these that have over 1,000 pages. I would click on this extension, and then I haven't used it for a while, but I would either go auto scrape, and again, this is free, but they give you like 2 searches per month or 2 scrapes per month, or it's freemium basically. So you just have to play around with it, and you have to tell them what do you want to scrape. So first it's going to detect a bunch of stuff, and then it's gonna, for example, you don't need to scrape, see how yeah, column 1 their name, column 2 their title. I don't need their title, for example. Column 3, so you really need their email is most important. The more information, the faster you'll use up the credits, or the more you'll have to pay. I don't need all of these. The main thing you need is their name and what do we need? The email, right? Not everybody has their email. So I'm just showing you like how to do it on an aggregate website. For this, when I did it, it's mostly for phone numbers that I did it for. Okay, so maybe that's not the best example from realtor.com because see, they hide their email. That's the thing. So it has nothing to scrape. Okay, so I use this as an example to show you how there's aggregate websites and you can scrape your own data with the scraper, right? Alternatively, so you could buy a list, right? You could use aggregate sites and a scraper like this. The third way would be to, so again, this was the Chrome no coding data scraper, right? The third way that you could do this is by actually using a tool like Local Scraper, okay? And I've used it before, and it's pretty interesting, okay? And this is an actual, not just a Chrome extension that scrapes a website you give it. This goes into Google Maps, okay? And you type in what you want, for example, plumbers, and it will scrape you a list of plumbers from Google Ads. And what's cool is it gives you a browser and you see how it types in plumber near me, and then it goes through the pages and copies the data and puts it in a spreadsheet. You see it working. It's pretty neat if you've never used a scraper before. So this, I believe, costs $19 per month. So I've done it before. So everything you do yourself, you save money, but you spend time doing it. So even before you send a single email, you have to scrape and you have to do this yourself, right? So let me update this sheet. DIY scraping software. So I've updated the options for you. So we're still on part one, getting that list of leads. So option one, you can buy a list of emails on Google. You just Google whatever it is and you see it. The quality can be hit or miss. Like I said, you could be paying for emails that are no longer valid. You could use a niche aggregate site. I don't know, your plumbers association or whatever, or realtors.com or dentists in Wyoming, whatever it is. Then you'd probably want to use a Chrome extension. So I linked it, no code. You just click it and then it will redirect you to the Chrome extension like that. And then the third one is the Local Scraper actual scraping software, not just a Chrome extension, but the scraping software, right? That's $20 a month. This is probably the best one. There's a bunch of them. D7, Lead Kahuna, they all do a similar thing. And they literally go and they open up your Google Maps and then it's going to start scraping all of these. You're going to tell it what you want, phone number, email, whatever, right? And then because if you click on this, it's going to open up and you literally see how it clicks. It moves the mouse, right? And then it copies the email if the email is there. And then the fourth way, there's also, you could go to LinkedIn and like use hunter.io. So other ways of scraping it. This one is the fourth way that I can recommend to you is just go to Fiverr and find a guy that could do it for you, guy or girl. So for example, honestly, and this is Canadian because I'm in Canada, 63, that's $50 US. You'd rather pay it and save yourself the headache of buying the tools of scraping and doing the scraping. It's to learn it, you'll have to, you pay for being cheap with your time more often than not. I've been there because I know how it is when you're bootstrapping it, right? You literally you want to spend the least amount possible. So you could find a guy. Now this guy, Ahmed, he's been recommended by a friend of mine, Jasper Aiken, who's also on YouTube as well. And that's his go-to guy. I've never used this person, but I trust my friend and he's used them many times and he recommends it to many people. So look at that. He can get you up to 10,000 records, 10,000 emails, which is great. That's a great starting list, right? You'll probably need a few months to crunch through that, right? 10,000 a month is a lot. Like you're not going to do it in a month. And for $50 American, 63 Canadian, you tell him one source scraped. Source would probably be like Google Maps, right? Or some other kind of source, right? But I'm pretty sure it's one category, meaning one niche, realtors or dentists, right? If you do standard, you could go wide. Like you could have, for example, if you're doing like any handyman, you could do construction guys, you could do electricians, you could do plumbers, and you could have several subcategories. Or for premium, you could do 100,000, 50,000 records standard. Dude, if you paid this, you would save yourself. For example, you go all out, 100,000 records, you're set for a year. You're set for a year easily. Unless you're a massive agency that does this in a month. You're not, right? Most likely. It's worth it. 20 categories, 10 countries, even. Jesus. 7-day delivery, 2 revisions. Revisions are like if you don't like something, you can do it. I would suggest do names, emails, and phone numbers at least, right? That way that you could cold call them too. Why not? Compare packages. So on Fiverr.com. If you don't want this guy, see he has 4.9 star rating. That means he's pretty good. You could go basic if you want $50. Yeah. Again, I'm not affiliated with him. I've never used them before, but I've seen other people recommend it. So you're gonna get a sheet like this, right? You're gonna get a sheet like this with names, emails, phone numbers, and addresses and towns if you need it, and you will save yourself the hassle. So that would be my probably, like, I'm good on leads because I bought that list of 2 million. I'm good on lists, but if I had to start over again or a new niche, I would definitely pay this guy and save myself the hassle. Okay, so that is part one of the system where we're gonna get a list of leads. Quick recap: you can buy a ready list on Google. You can use a site that has a bunch of emails. You'd need a Chrome extension. You can scrape it yourself, and you can pay a little more and get a guy on Fiverr to do it for you. And that's probably my preferred option. Okay, let's go and do part two, the setup. Alrighty, let's talk about part two, which is setting up your actual cold email system. I'm going to show you everything that an agency would do for you, where you don't have to touch anything and they do it for you, but you pay a lot more. But here you could save a lot more money, but you have to do it yourself. It's going to get a little bit technical, but not too bad. Nothing like, I'm not a developer, I can't code, but I can do this, okay? It's not that bad. Okay, so the two options are you could either get Smart Lead or Instantly. This is the tool we're gonna use to warm up your inboxes, to connect your inboxes, and to send out these emails. So for example, you're looking at Smart Lead, my Smart Lead, and I have email accounts. It's a very simple, there's literally 6 options to do, and it's not that complicated. Okay, and you could see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inboxes. Okay, I have a total of 6 inboxes. As a rule of thumb, now I'm gonna be teaching you some rules to the game. Just take my word for it, right? It is that way because if you go over these limits, right, they will shut you down. Like Google will shut you down. They don't allow, any email provider will shut you down. So the most you could ever send per day of cold emails. Now, some people say it varies a little bit. It could be 60, 70. To be safe, no more than 50. Okay, so 50 is the rule of thumb that you could send emails per inbox per day, per 24 hours. So that means that I can send 50 from Michael at 1080 Digital, 50 from Greg. Michael's just a made up name, right? 50 from Josh at, right? 50 from this, 50 from this, and 50 from this. And if we didn't fail grade 3 math, 5 times 6, there's 6 inboxes, 6 times 50 is 300 emails. So I can send up to 300 emails per day with 6 inboxes, right? The beauty of this Smart Lead or Instant Lead, they give you unlimited inboxes, right? So you usually, when the problem is not them, right? The problem is with Gmail, I have to pay for each inbox, okay, like $6 a month. So that's why I stopped at 6, just to test the system and to see if I need more in the future. Okay, and so far so good, right? So I can send 300 emails per day with this setup that I have. Okay, so no more than 50 per day each. Now, if you look, I have 1080digital.com, 1080digital.com, 1080digital.com. So that's one domain, right? And I have 3 inboxes, Michael, Greg, and Josh with 1080digital.com. And then I have clientdrive.net. Okay, and that's the second domain, and I have 1, 2, 3 inboxes with that second domain. As a rule of thumb, you want to send no more than 50 per day per inbox, okay? And you want no more than 3 inboxes, trying to conceptualize this, per domain. Okay, so that means that, let's say your domain xyz.com can have 3 inboxes. That's what I'm mentally was trying to do with this. Can have 3 inboxes, 1, 2, 3. You could call it, let's say, Sally, Johnny, and whatever. You could be like variations of your name. I could have been like Greg Vasil at Greg V at, but why do that? That's another option. I just used it as maybe staff members that work with me, and then each one could send 50 per day. So one domain could send 150. People even say don't do more than 2, but I think two or 3. I've heard different, right? Definitely not more than 3, right? So that means all of these 6 could not have come from 1080 Digital, okay? So that's another thing to watch. So not only can you send no more than 50 per day per inbox, but you can have 3 inboxes per domain. Okay, so that's where kind of things add up financially, where you have to, yes, you can add unlimited email accounts into this, but you still have to pay for each inbox to Google, and we're going to talk about this in a second. Okay, now just in case you're wondering, why does it? Can I send mine? Let's say whatever xyz at gmail.com. Gmail.com. You cannot send from, let's say, Greg at gmail.com. You can't. Forget it. Okay. You can try, but you're going to fail, because either you're going to get throttled. They're going to tell you, hey, stop it. They're going to say, you're spamming, or they're just going to go, they're all going to go to spam and trash. And what's the point if you're of that? You're just wasting your time. There was a way to do it. There still is like a way to use gmail.com, but then you need 50 Gmail accounts, and you need to send. The whole point of this is, like, you guys don't understand what a list of 10,000 or even 1,000 emails. Okay. I don't want to pull it up just because for this video, but let's just say you see what a list looks like, right? Of emails, right? You want to upload them into the system and write your little ad copy for the email and send go. That's it. You don't want to, if you're using gmail.com, you have to copy and paste and send it to 5 at a time or 10 at a time. You really need a VA for that, and the system really falls apart, in my opinion, if you're using Gmail, and then you're gonna go to trash. This way, when you're using separate inboxes with actual domains, business Gmails, then you'll be fine. Okay, this really scales this way. Okay, I hope this is not too confusing. Again, the biggest takeaway is don't use gmail.com. The second is 50 per inbox per day, and then only 3 inboxes max per domain. Okay, per domain. And you never, ever want to use your actual domain. So, for example, if your domain is, let's just say, thebestagency.com. Let's just say that's your actual domain. Your website is on that. You do some lead generation from that. Maybe you have some landing pages on that, thebestagency.com, right? You may use a subdomain, go.thebestagency.com. If you are wanting to do cold email outreach, okay, you don't want to use that as the actual. So these domains, they're throwaway domains. I own a bunch. I don't need this for anything else. I don't need to use it for Google, for ranking, for SEO, I don't need it. What you want to do is, then you would buy bestagency.com. Something different. You buy different, but a little bit similar, but different. In Google's eyes, it's a different domain. Or you do the best agency, and they have co.ca.io. That's a completely different domain in Google's eyes. .net, .org. Okay, just very slight variations. For example, the best agency mail.com. You could actually do hyphens, right? Like that. We're not used to seeing that, but that's legit. So just make sure it's not your main domain. Use a burner throwaway domain. A domain is $10 a year, right? So just do that. You'll need a bunch, right? So, because you remember, 3 inboxes per domain. You want at least, I would say, like I have 6, but that's not a lot. Maybe you want 10. So if you want 10 inboxes, you need at least 3 or 4 domains, right? So you could really go that way. It's branded as your domain, but it's slightly different. If you don't have a the in front, most people don't, whatever, let's say if it's best agency, then put the best agency and just buy that domain. So just buy a bunch of domains if you're going to do this, to that you could send emails from, and that way if it gets flagged by Google or it doesn't jeopardize your main domain. All right, so that's setting up your cold email system. So you get Smart Lead or Instantly. They're both good. They're both very similar. I'm using Smart Lead. That's what I use. Instantly is they're both industry leaders. Okay, some people use one, some people use the other. You have links here. Please use them. Go ahead and click on it, and it will open up a new tab. And yeah, buy several new burner domains, 2 or 3. If we do the math, if you get 2, you can have 3 inboxes, so you have 6 inboxes, right? If you get 3, you get 9. Start small. You don't have to go crazy scale, right? So get 3 domains, and you'll have 3 inboxes. That's per each. That's 9 inboxes in total, right? So I have, or email accounts, I have 6. You'll have 3 more. You'll have 9. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Now, first, let's talk about the pricing. So when you use Smart Lead, okay, for example, Smart Lead, we click, we open it, all right. It is my affiliate link. I will get a small commission, but it's no extra cost to you, so don't worry about it. There's a way to support me if you're liking this video. You might get a longer free trial as well. If you look at the pricing, okay, the starter plan, the basic plan, $39 a month, allows you to have 2,000 active leads, and you can send 6,000 emails per month to these leads. That means that each lead is like an email that you send it to, right? Basically, with this, you can send if you do the math again, it's 3 emails for one lead. Each lead will get 3 emails. Usually, you want to send more than one email, right? You want to send a follow-up to John Smith, right? Hey, John, did you get my last email? Usually you'll want to send 3 or 4 or up to 5 in a sequence, okay? So you could send 3 to each of the 2,000 leads, and for a total of 6,000 emails per month. Now, let's do our little basic math for our inboxes. I'm looking just at don't worry about the rest of this, unlimited email warm-up, email accounts. Like I said, yes, it does allow you unlimited email accounts, but you have to still pay for each one to Google, okay, which I'll talk about in a sec. So let's take a look at this. So 6,000 emails a month. How many days in a month? 30 days. So that means you can send 200 per day with this plan. And if we divide it by, remember I told you no more than 50 per day. So you could literally have 4 inboxes. So you need 2 domains and two inboxes each, kind of, and that will take up your. This is a very basic starter plan. Now, most likely, you need a little bit more, for sure. You need a little bit more. So here you have, they go from 6,000 to 150,000. Okay, that's 150,000. That's a lot of emails. And 30,000 active leads. So that means that if we do 150 divided by 30, 5, I could have done that in my head, but I just wanted you to follow along. Each lead is going to get, you can build a sequence of 5 emails, right? Hey, did you get my last email? Did you get my last email? Blah, blah, blah. That's usually how cold email is done, okay? Yeah, with 150,000 emails per month, okay? If you want to see how many per day, you divide by 30, because there's 30 days in a month. You can send 5,000 per day with this plan, $94 plan. That will make a difference. That will make a difference. I guarantee that will make a difference. Then how many inboxes do we need if we divide by 50, right? We need 100 inboxes to max this out. You can go less. You could definitely go less, right? But to really max out this plan, you can go 100, you can get 100 inboxes, right? And we said no more than 3 per domain. You're going to need 33 domains. So yeah, it's a little bit of homework to do if you really want to max it. You definitely don't need this one unless you're doing mega volume, but somewhere between this and this is very little. They do it on purpose, right? Because they want you to get this plan, because this is not enough and this is too much. You're somewhere going to be in between, so you're probably still going to need this plan, which is totally fine. Now let's compare it with the other app, which is called Instantly. So Smartly is the one I use, the one kind of I'm used to, but the other industry leader is called Instantly, and you can see they have a 30 and 77 plan, which see this is 39.94, but this is yearly, so we have to. That always gets me, right? You're like, oh, this is cheaper, but then that's a yearly. If you go monthly, they have the same thing for $97, and these guys have 94, and these guys give you 150,000 emails, and these guys only give you 100,000. It's still very hard, even 100,000 per month to send. It's you're gonna strain to do that, but they give you more. It seems like they give you a little bit more bang for a little less buck, right? For $3 less. These guys on their basic give you 6,000. These guys give you 5,000. So very similar. I think they're when it's like Windows and Mac OS. These guys do something, those guys do their own version. Very similar. So you definitely can use either or, right? For the sake of this tutorial, we're using Smartly. Okay, so once you get it, and please use my link, setting up your cold email system, right? Once you get Smartly or Instantly, you need to go and buy several burner domains. Okay, so it depends. How many inboxes do you want? Divide that by 2 or 3. Let's go 3. So you need less domains. Buy the equivalent of that domain. A domain, again, is $10 a year, right? But if you're going to buy 10 domains, that's $100. So it adds up, right? And don't use your main domain. Remember we talked about use a variation of it. Use a variation of it. Okay, so now you need to, when you come and you open Smartly like this for the first time, you're not going to have any email accounts at all. So you're going to have to go and you're going to have to add accounts. Okay. And the options they give you is Gmail. Okay. Outlook. So these are the two I would recommend to go with. Okay, these are the two I would recommend to go with. I'm more of a Gmail kind of gal. That's what I'm used to. That's what I have. I'll show you in a second. But I know a lot of people use Outlook. So you just can do the cost comparison, what it is, right? So if you see here, I have Gmail is workspace is $6 USD per inbox per month. Okay, it's about $9 Canadian. That you could go with this, totally fine. I would go with this or this. Now, if you're using another system, which I'll cover a little bit later, I actually found out about this recently through my buddy Jasper, and it's another thing to pay for, but man, is it gonna save like a lot of headache that I'm gonna show you in the next few minutes. But yeah, then you would use the SMTP. SMTP is like your own setup. You can do your own setup. So if you're using Gmail, it's pretty straightforward. You click on this, it's just gonna pop up, enter your email, and then it's gonna sync up. Like the zero authorization sync, or OAuth, is very simple. Same thing with this, with Outlook. Do not, for the love of God, for the love of everything that is holy, I can't use my highlighter, use Zoho. Okay, I want to put a red freaking X over it. Zoho screwed me over. Zoho, if you're watching this, you probably never will, but you suck. Because they're like, hey, Gmail costs $6 per inbox. You imagine you have per month, you have 10 inboxes, that's $60. Zoho's, yeah, $1 per inbox. Cool. Yeah, $1.25 per, but you can't use it for inbox. So it ran for 3 days, and they started shutting down my inboxes one by one. And then they said that, hey, we're not going to give you a refund. And that's it. They took my money. I spent $200 on inboxes and I lost it all. So do not go with Zoho. Okay, it's better to pay a little bit more and just use Gmail, and it's more reliable. Okay, Gmail is the way to go that I recommend. And the way to get Gmail, sorry, G Suite, that's different. It's a business email. All right, you just Google G Suite. That was the old name for it, G Suite. Now it's called Google Workspace. Okay, and basically what it's gonna do is when you click your little 9-ball dice here, you're gonna have this admin panel. Okay, and if you click on this admin panel, it's going to take you to this kind of setup directory, okay? And you see how I have all of these Josh, Mary, Michael, Peter, right? I should have gone the whole 12 apostles route. Yeah, that's actually, I'm halfway there, right? That's what you can do. That's where they live, these inboxes. Again, they're only connected to here. Like Smart Lead is a hub that allows you to send the email. Smartly is not an inbox provider. Okay, neither is Instantly. You still need an inbox provider. So see, they're Gmail. Okay, so you need to do Gmail. That's what I recommend. Or Outlook, right? And the way you do this, you go add new user, right? And it says add new user, and see it's 936 Canadian, which is $6 American. Then you sign them up, and then you choose your domain here, right? That's your domain. Again, use the burner domain. Do not use your main domain. And then you just put like whatever. You make up a staff name. You start with yourself always, and then you make up a staff name. And each one will be a monthly recurring billing. Okay, that's the one that I use, the one that I recommend. Now, the one that just came on my radar recently is this one called Inframail. Okay, Inframail. And Inframail is really interesting. So what they do is they actually, so Smart Lead and Instantly, they allow you to send the emails, but they don't provide the inboxes. Okay, you have to get your own. Go get your own inboxes. Go to Gmail, right? Pay $6. Whereas Inframail doesn't let you send the emails, but does provide the inboxes en masse. Okay, meaning that, and I encourage you to watch this guy's. I watched it today. It's really compelling. His explainer video of what it does. Okay, and you could see that they actually provide you an unlimited amount of inboxes, right? So you don't have to pay $6 per inbox a month. For 99 a month, okay, don't look at that one. Man, these things add up, right? They do. But again, this is a lot cheaper than if you had an agency do it for you. For example, how we talked about Gmail. So for $100 a month, because you're paying 6 per inbox, you can get up to 16 inboxes, right? 16 inboxes. So for your 17th inbox, right, you're gonna pay another $6. For your 18th inbox, you're gonna pay another $6 and $6 and $6. This is flat rate $99, and you get unlimited email inboxes. Actually, when I'm gonna scale my cold email in the future, I'm probably gonna move away from Gmail, shut all these off so I don't pay $6 each one, right? And I'm just gonna suck it up and get this for a flat fee per month, get unlimited. That way I could literally take advantage of this. You know how we did the math? How many, if I can send 150,000 emails per month with this plan with Smart Lead, 150,000, and I can do, okay, there's 30 days in a month, and I can do only 50 per inbox. How many inboxes do I need? So I need 100 inboxes. Okay, so if you wanted to max this out, you'd have to pay Gmail $6 per each inbox. You'd have to pay $600 a month to Gmail, and I keep calling it Gmail, but it's G Suite, right? Google Workspace. You'd have to pay $600 to get 100 inboxes here, so you could have 100 inboxes here to take advantage of that plan, right? Whereas here, instead of 600, you can pay a flat rate of 99 a month, and you get unlimited. You could get those 100 and more, and you get a dedicated IP server. Anyways, they set it up, everything. And all of the next setup that I'm going to go through in a second, like the DMARC, DKIM, SPF, and MX setup that I'm going to show you, because we're doing this ourselves, they actually do it for you, which, imagine, you have to do it per domain, not per inbox. But the only thing with this, you don't have to pay per inbox, but you still have to pay per domain. So that means that if you want 100 inboxes, right, and remember we can have a max of 3 per domain, right, you need 33 domains. I'm using 100 as an arbitrary number. You really don't have 100 inboxes is a lot. That means you could send 50 a day times 100. You could send 5K emails a day. You're not gonna, if you're starting out, if you're a brand new agency owner, you're never gonna send those numbers in the beginning. So maybe you don't have to go hard. But if you want the 100 inboxes, you're gonna need 3 max per domain, right? So you're gonna need 33 domains, right? And remember, domains are $10. I use Namecheap. That's my go-to Namecheap domain buyer. Okay, and they're $10 a domain. So with info, you can actually you'll have to spend $10 per year. but those 33 domains will cost you $330. So there's the cost of the domains. But anyways, you need to buy the domains even here with Gmail. It's not like Gmail provides you free domains. You still need them. It's just these guys will give you unlimited inboxes, where these guys will charge you $6 per inbox. Okay. And actually you can buy the domains right here in Infomail. I think they're slightly more expensive than $10. It could be like, I think 12 or 15, but you have the convenience of buying them right here. Which means you don't have to connect. If you buy them on Namecheap or GoDaddy, you'll have to connect it to Infomail. But yeah, so this is the way to go if you're gonna use what cold mail is intended for, which is scale, right? Scale. Again, this is really testing the system with 6 inboxes, 550 per day, 300 emails per day total is really testing. Back to our sheet. Don't use your domain. Add 2-3 users for each domain in Google, right? G Suite, which is going to cost you $6. So right now, let's do the math. I'm paying $6 times, I have 6 inboxes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of them I'm not using as cold email, right? So I'm paying $36. So I'm paying less than 99. But had I had another inbox, I would pay this much. Another inbox. So by the time I have 10 more inboxes, let's just say it would very quickly get to 100. Sorry, screwed up there. All right, does that make sense? Okay, so now we need to set up this DMARC, DKIM, SPF, and MX setup. Now, so some of these links are links to the actual products, and some of these are to the help center. Smart Lead has a really helpful help guides in their help center, and anything we need, I can just look it up. It's pretty standard. So more often than not, why do emails bounce or they go to the spam folder? Is because we don't have these set up, DMARC, DKIM, SPF. They're just records that tell Google that this email is safe. Okay, and they have tutorials on everything. So because we're in Gmail, so we can click this. I'm gonna hold Command, open a new tab. How to set up DKIM. Okay, SPF, Gmail. How to set up SPF. DMARC. How to set up DMARC with Gmail. It's really, there's a lot but it's very straightforward. So you get this key from your Google Workspace. So from here, they can give it to you. I'll show you in a sec how that looks like. It's so much explaining for the little string of, it's very simple. SPF is dead. Like it's this. You copy and paste this. You just copy and paste this. And the way you do this is in your wherever your domain lives. So this is per domain, right? You have 3 inboxes per domain. You just do it once per that domain. So I'll just show you. So whatever your host is, wherever your DNS records are. So even though I'm buying the domain in Namecheap, my DNS records run through Cloudflare. It's like an extra level of safety security. Okay. So all it was for, let's go one at a time. So DMARC. For DMARC, all I did was here. I used the guide, right? Whatever popped up, DMARC, okay? And I literally, the name was, they're all TXT records. If you're familiar with records, usually it's like a CNAME, A or CNAME, those are most popular, but TXT, they're all TXT. So it's dead easy. You just add a TXT record, you put DMARC. And again, I don't expect you to do this from this video. I expect you to click on that link to help article and to find it and just copy and paste from that thing. And literally, I just copied this string, VDMARC equals to 1, and then you need to provide an email where to send these DMARC reports to. That's it. Save. Done. Okay? Next one, DKIM, DKIM. Domain key, which stands for domain key. That one is google.domain key, and then you just copy and paste, and you get it from this. So it's an apps, Google Workspace, Gmail, and then it's here, authenticate email, and you're going to have a unique one. I'm not going to click it right now because it's going to show mine. It's a private, kind of like a API key. You just literally copy and paste it, and then you put it into here, and then you go save. Again, follow. So this article has all of the ones that you need, which I link to that article here. right? And then you do the MX, okay, setup. And that's per each domain. You need to do that, and that will increase deliverability. You saw my like that wasn't even my deliverability. That was my open rate is 70%. My deliverability must be like 99.9%. It has to be to get like 75% plus open rate. Yeah, where were we? So that's how you do it with the email provider. Now, if you're using InfraMail, all right, and I again, I'm only saying this because I was like, wow, they do all that for you. They actually, so because you get the domains through them, you can. It's slightly more, so it's a couple dollars more than you would have gotten otherwise. But their AI sets up all the DKIM, the DMARC, and the SPF, all of these records that you would have had to do on your own. Imagine 30 domains, let's say. You have to do that for each one. That's a day, that's half a day's work right there. They do it all for you for 99 with to unlimited inboxes. Again, you pay per domain still, but you can do three inboxes per domain, so you don't need that many domains, right? So I would actually use them. Yeah, just to clarify, it's either InfraMail or the Google Space, right? If you're using InfraMail, you don't need the Google Space. I don't need to go where my users are. If you're doing the InfraMail route, you don't need to pay $6 per inbox. You pay flat fee. So they're interchangeable, right? Google Workspace, G Suite, or InfraMail, right? They're either or. You don't need both. Now, Smart Lead is the one that actually sends them. So you do need that too, right? And with Smart Lead, so it's either Smart Lead or Instantly, and G Suite or InfraMail. Okay, again, I'm going to repeat this. So it's Smart Lead or in this Instantly to one of these two to send the emails, and I'm using Smart Lead. And then it's paying per inbox with G Suite or InfraMail. And right now I'm using G Suite, but I'm probably going to switch to InfraMail. It's a little bit more expensive per month up front, but it's unlimited inboxes, right? So if you're scaling, it really adds up, right? And then you still have to pay for your domains. And then, yeah, so you're basically looking at somewhere 200 to 300 per month instead of 2,000, 3,000 that you would pay for an agency to do this kind of volume for you. Now, this is part 2 of part 2, okay? And this is, I would say we're at the halfway point right now, more towards the home stretch, maybe 65%. Now we add accounts, okay? So we're either doing it one by one through email, through Gmail, or we are adding the ones from InfraMail, okay? And those ones we have to go through the SMTP. It's actually not too complicated, but it is a little bit tedious. The ports are right there and everything, but we don't even have to do that. So what we can do, if you're using Gmail, G Suite, you are logging in one by one. You click it, it prompts you to log in, and then, yeah. Or these guys, because you're going to have a bunch of inboxes, they're going to provide you a CSV, and you just drag and drop a CSV into here. Okay, see how they have I can't even use my highlighter. But right there where I'm drag and drop a CSV file. So what happens is you can get a CSV of your inboxes, okay, which are going to have this format. Like this is going to say from name, Josh at blah, 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 from email, Josh at whatever example email, Josh Stevenson, blah, blah, blah. Just like I have here, all of these can come in a CSV format. So I can download them as a CSV, and then I can basically drag and drop them into here, into this part, okay? So you can actually, to be clear, you can do this for both Gmail or InfraMail, but for InfraMail especially, because it's going to be a lot more inboxes, because you can go harder, because you don't have to pay per each inbox, right? So let me connect a new account to just show you. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to, again, if you're using InfraMail, you're going to probably drag and drop a CSV. They're going to give you a CSV file. I'm just going to use Gmail right now. And then I get the screen. That's fine. And I'm going to go connect account. So it prompted me to log in. And then it's gonna say sign in with Google. That's the OAuth, easier way. And then it's gonna say allow smart lead. You're gonna go allow, right? And then you have to do that per each inbox. Okay, and now I'm in that inbox. Okay, so see how I'm here? If I go back to email, if I click email accounts again, you're gonna see it was added. You see this reputation is NA, whereas my other ones have 100%. So that reputation is very important, and that's where the email warm up comes in. And what's important is that the following options have to be enabled. So if I start sending cold emails right now, today, with this inbox, team@zenlead.io, without having warmed it up, everything's going to end up in the trash or the spam folder, right? Or the junk folder. That's because it's not warmed up. So this is critical. So for the next 10 to 14 days, yes, it takes up to 2 weeks. We have to go through the steps that I'm going to show you, and then we have to let it breathe. We have to let the system do its thing, whether you're using Smart Lead or you're using Instantly. So that is the warm up. The warm up is crucial. Even on our sheet, we have so set up records. So we talked about that. We added the Google inboxes, whether it's one by one through, like I showed you, where it says Gmail, and then or you do a bulk with the CSV, and then we have to let it breathe for 14 days. Okay, I would rather do 14 than 10, but that's just me because I want to err on the side of caution. So how do we configure it correctly, and how do we add a custom tracking domain? So let's take a look at that. Now on my other monitor, I have one that's already set up, which is one of these. So I'm just going to walk you through and do the same thing for this brand new one, Greg Vasil, which kind of that's where it it ends up. You see, there is nothing, so it won't even let me go to overview before I go through all the warm-up settings. So looking at general, so messages per day, this is when we're actually sending emails. So the way I have mine configured, right, I have the number 30. So remember I said 50 per inbox max, right? This is the golden rule, 50 per inbox max. So 50 cold daily max, right? This is like the rule of thumb, 50. So that doesn't mean we have to do 50. And in the beginning, I said 30 as the messages per day, but that's after your 2 weeks. So don't worry about it. So you could put anything from 30 to 40. Let's just go with 30 for now, because even though you did the warm up, maybe you don't want to go 50 right away, because it's going to be, that's the max. Because we're really trying not to, for Google not to be like, you're a spammer, you're getting banned, goodbye. We don't want that, right? Minimum time gap, we're going to put 10 minutes. So that means the system is going to wait 10 minutes before it sends another email from this inbox. Because remember, it's sending 30, 40, 50 per day, right? So we want to stagger them. Set a different reply address. We don't have to. Signature, you can put a signature. So for example, whatever the user's name, you could put Greg, okay? BCC to CRM, that we leave that blank. So there's a custom tracking domain. So that is recommended. So we're going to do this, okay? And it's super duper simple. This is the one that was here, add a custom tracking domain. So the way we do this is pretty straightforward. They're saying, hey, add a CNAME record so that we can track open rates, right? So we know the open rates. How you saw I had 77%. We know that because we have the system set up. It's super easy. You copy this, okay? And all it says is add a CNAME record. I know this because I did the guide. They have a guide for everything, right? Again, I come where all my records are, DNS records, domain name server records. I go add a record, right? And what do they want? CNAME. Okay, they want a CNAME record. You could have a GoDaddy or Namecheap, a slightly different variation, okay? And then what does the help article want? They want email tracking, right? As the name. And then they want open at sletrack is here, and no proxy. I know that. You won't have this unless you have Cloudflare. Don't worry about it. Okay, and then we go save. Cool, that's set up. Now what they want you to do after you do this is go back to your app, which is here, And then you have to go HTTP and then see how it's HTTP email tracking get smart writer because that's their domain. So for me, it would be HTTP. I always forget where's the. That's why I always like to copy and paste things. I don't like to type these, right? And then it's email tracking, which is what we put into here, right? Email tracking, and then dot my domain. So dot whatever the domain is, right? Zenlead.io. Zenlead. And now here, if I set this up correctly, which I believe I did, if I go check status, I should have CNAME verified. It verified that I have this. So you want this to show up. Okay. So that's general. Again, we do 30 per day to start, go up to 50 max. Time minute gap, I put 10. Signature, just the first name. And then you do custom tracking domain. Okay. And then we go, we want to save it, warm up. Okay, let's see, what do we put for warm up? It's pretty easy, right? So email warm up should be enabled. Total number of warm up emails per day. I have mine set at 50. Okay, but I'm going to probably start lower and go with 30. Now, in general, we put 30. That was the actual when they start sending, right? But this is the warm up emails for the day. Okay, daily ramp up 5 is fine. So that means today or tomorrow they're going to send 5. Next day they're going to send 10, 15, 20 until they get to 30. Randomized warm ups emails per day. I'm going to go from maybe from 10 to start until 30, which is this number. Okay, so that means some days it's gonna, after it ramps up, some days it's gonna send 12 and some days it's gonna send 28. So it's not the same in Google's eyes. Okay, and then slowly, maybe after 2 weeks or after a week or two, you can creep this number up. This won't let you go past 30 because 30 is the most. So if I change this to 40, then we could drag this to 40, right? So you see that's the upper kind of thing, right? We have this kind of rule of thumb that we have. I have more. You'll have access to this. Don't worry. So 2 week inbox warm up, randomize 25 to 40 emails per day. Okay, cool. So it says 25 to 40. So you can go a little bit harder, right? And then after 2 weeks, you want to send about 40 cold and 30 warm up per day, which is, so you still keep doing the warm up, right? Even now, I'm not running any emails campaigns, but I'm doing the warm up still because that's gonna keep it alive, keep the inbox alive. Okay, so 40 cold, 30 warm, up to 50 cold. So 40 is like being safe. That's what I'm saying. I've always taught you 50, but 40 is like safer than 50. But maybe the first month I'll do 4. The first warm up, the first few days, I'll probably honestly do 30. Okay, and I'll do 10 to 30. Then the week after that, maybe I'll go up to 40, and then I'll do 10 to 40, like that. And then after that, I'll do 25 to 40. So that means it's going to send more than less. Reply rate. So suggested 20, so you could keep it at 20. Yeah, that's fine. And then you enable warm up. Okay. And then once you do that, so this is a little bit extra, but so warm up identifier tag. So you could actually go to your Gmail, for example, and you can set up a filter. You can, how like you have a search in your Gmail. I'm not going to do this now, but so you can copy and paste this into search and you can see all of the, so the emails will have like random things like, hey Mary, did you bring your cup to the party? Are you coming on Saturday to see John? You'll be like, who's Mary, who's John? Don't worry, that's the warm-up emails that are going in, because you're using inboxes that are not your main inboxes anyways, but they're all gonna, each email is gonna have this to identify it. It's gonna have angry Carrie or whatever it is, right? Cat, whale, to identify it. So you could actually set up a filter in a folder that any emails that have angry Carrie in it as a text get sent to this warm up folder, just if you need to, right? If you're using this, but you shouldn't really be using these inboxes for anything else other than cold email. Okay, these two I have. Enable auto adjust warm up sending ratio, warm up the custom domain tracking link. for better deliverability. I don't have it enabled, but you can. It doesn't hurt for better deliverability. Warm-ups to optimize for email. I would do it. So yeah, go ahead. Just do that. Stick to the suggested ones. And then management. You can add text tags, right? So you can add, for example, so these tags, you create them somewhere else and you can add them to identify them. So for example, warm up only, and I'll show you in a sec what it is. And then for clients, you don't need this. I don't have anything for clients. And then campaigns, this is when you're actually sending the campaigns. So now that we go to overview, you can see there's blank, okay? And if we go to email accounts again, you're going to see this tag is warm up only. So these are the different tags. All right, so you can see the daily limit that we put. Again, this daily limit is the general limit. It's this one. And that is when we actually start sending. Right now, we're just doing warm up. Do not do any, do not go to, do not create any email campaigns right now because you need this warm up, right? So you could see, for example, Greg at 1080 Digital, 124 email warm-up email sent, 124 landed in inbox, so it's 100% deliverability. This is warm-up, so it's a little bit safer, but it's pretty cool, right? So landed in the inbox, and then these are actual, yeah. Let's see in campaigns. I don't think it's going to show me my deliverability. Anyways, so again, here I have the general 30 per day, 10 gap, custom tracking domain, warm up. I have 50 per day. Okay, so this one's a little bit, so see, I have different inboxes have, yeah, may have slightly different options. So 50, daily ramp up is 5, randomize the number. Again, I would start with 30, right? 30 maybe for a few days, then do 40, and then do 50. And my randomized number was what, 30 to 50, I believe, or 25 to 50. Okay, so that's, it's not, so you don't look like a bot, you don't look like a spamming bot, which you're not, I know you're not, right? So I'm going over the suggested 20 for reply rate. I don't remember what this is for, to be honest with you, but yeah. And this one has sheep sound for the identifier, which is just something extra. I think these two are new options. The management, I have tags. Okay, so once you do that, so let's go through this really quickly. So you're gonna get Smart Lead or Instantly, please use my links. You're gonna get a bunch of burner domains, right? So if just think about how many inboxes you want, divided by 3, because it's 3 per domain. You're gonna get your inboxes either in Google Admin, right? Google Workspace, or you're going to use Inframail, which is a little more pricey, but it's unlimited inboxes. Still have to pay for domains though. You're going to set up your DNS DMARC DKIM. Okay. So you can actually, you can add them here first. Oops. Wrong one, email accounts. So you can add them here one by one, either through here, or if you have a CSV file from Inframail, you can paste it here. And then they will show you how to, you'll have an article inside of Smart Lead, how to do the DKIM setup, and all of this beautiful stuff you have to do on your own inside. I have way more than needed, don't worry about it. But you're gonna have to do it in your DNS settings. Unless you use Inframail, then they do it all for you, right? All these DNS, DKIM, SPF. And then add all of your, like we said, either before or after you do the DNS. That doesn't matter. You add them all into here, into Smart Lead. And then finally, you configure it. So that was the options that we talked about, right? So brand new account. So just the general, the most important is the general and the warm up. Okay. And general, don't worry, that's for sending. You're not there yet, so don't worry about it. And then just do warm up. Start with 30, I would say, per day. Let's say 10, because it's a brand new, it's a cold inbox. So you need to warm it up. Okay. And then finally, you add the tracking domain, which is this, right? Remember how I showed you the tracking? So this has an article, setup guide, and then you need to put this here, and it has to say CNAME verified if you check the status, right? and then you let it breathe for 14 days. You don't touch it. All you do is you come in and you check in this overview, and you could see how many, and your reputation is going to be 100. Sometimes it's 98, because what happens is you see the saved from spam. So what happens actually during the warm up process, they're sending, so Smart Lead has a network of emails, email inboxes, not just your own. Okay, all their users, many users, their own emails, and then what it's doing is sending to each other and themselves on your behalf, like by itself. And then if it lands in spam, then the system, Smart Lead, will pull it out of spam and place it in the inbox automatically. And that kind of marks it safe. And if we mark it safe, that means you are a genuine verified sender, and it's not going to be an issue for you or for anybody else. So that's why your reputation can go like 90%, and then because a bunch landed in spam, but then it saved a bunch and it's going to go 95, and then it may go 98, and then it may go to 100, and you always want to be at 100. And you see this, I haven't used this for a while, and it's still, so you don't want to turn off the warm up even when you're done the 2 weeks, and you let it rest, right? You let these rest for 2 weeks. You just check in and see. Now sometimes what happens is they get uncoupled from Smart Lead. You know how we added it through here? Something happens and it gets unlinked. Okay, then you have to go in and you have to link it again. This will say unlink. You will actually get an email saying, hey, something happened. And that happened when Zoho, remember I told you don't get Zoho because they flagged all of my accounts one by one. I was getting emails, your thing is disconnected, your thing is this, your inbox is disconnected, because Zoho was being a bad boy, and they punished me for something that, you know, I was doing legitimately. Anyways, so just keep your eye on this, and that everything's connected. And like literally said, like today's August 29th, I don't touch this until 14 days, right? So that's going to be August 30, 31, and then 12 days in September, right? So September 12th, then I'll do my campaign, right? So we're done part one and we're done part two, right? So part one was getting the list, and part two is setting up your system. And part three will be about sending the actual, how to write the email and how to set the campaign. That's actually probably the easiest and most fun part. You literally go to email campaign and you just go create. You just go create. And then you see, when you see the numbers and you see the replies. Last thing I wanted to show you is this master inbox. So what's pretty cool is that you could see when they reply to you from any of the inbox, it's gonna end up in the master inbox. And then what you could do is you could come over here. So she got two of my emails, right? So the first, hey agents, we recently recorded a masterclass, blah 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 blah, and I sent a link, and then I followed up, right? Okay. And then she replied, thank you for your email. Please know that I changed my email address. So what I did was I marked her. I have these tags that I can tag them. Wrong person. So that's why you see wrong person, out of office. But before that, I had a bunch of people reply when I was doing my initial campaign. A bunch of people reply, so I was just marking them green or red, not interested or interested, and it was pretty cool. Interested, not interested. Yeah, so that's the unified inbox. Instantly also has this, so you can make your life easier. You could also like forward these to your actual email or Slack, but that's like integrate. You need to set up. It's just an extra step to integrate it. Okay, cool. Let's check in a bit for part three. Alrighty, guys. This is the next day for me, and we're gonna launch our campaigns. Now, for you, you would have waited 2 weeks for the warm up, right? Because you want to warm up your email accounts. You can actually see that the one that I added recently, yesterday, it's already at reputation 100, right? It was NA. But if I click into it, you can actually see that it only had 1 day of sending warm up emails. We want to wait the full 2 weeks, whereas the other ones that have been running ongoing, like I never turn off the warm up, right? I never turn off the warm up. You can see they've been going, and it's been randomizing numbers every day, and they actually reply. So it's like they sent 21 and 8 people replied, 8 people in the network, or 8 bots, or whatever it is that Smart Lead uses to reply. So replies are so important because reply signifies that you're not just like somebody, when you're sending cold emails, you're not going to get that many replies. But here, people actually, the system replies and it sends a signal to Google that your email is important, right? So that's where, remember, we set up like the general and the warm up kind of settings, right? So daily warm up to 50, randomize, and the reply rate. So suggested 20%. I put 45%. So that means the percentage works like that. So for example, 13 people replied out of third divided by 38 cent, right? So that's 34%. We can multiply it by 100. That's 34% reply rate on this one. The higher the reply rate, the better, but you don't want to make it too high because it's fishy. So anyways, I digress. So today you have your list of leads. I have it right here. Actually, I have a sample list of, I have 2,000 leads here, right? Because I have, remember in the pricing, I have this basic plan, right? So it allows you to upload 2,000 active leads, and you can send 3 emails per month to each lead. So that's a total of 6,000 emails, right? So I can actually see when I click on the top right in Smart Lead, you could see that I have used 0 for the month, 0 out of my 2,000 allotted active leads, 0 out of my 6,000 allotted emails, and I have email verification credits, which I will discuss shortly. It's a pretty cool new feature, right? Yeah, that is what's up. So I have my email accounts, and now I'm going to go to my email campaign, okay, which is pretty straightforward. Now I have an existing email campaign right here, so I might have to delete it because if the system already has, it allows up to 2,000. If you have in a previous campaign, you have to delete the old one to get the full 2,000. So let me just try, because I have, this has been paused for a while. So let's just go ahead and click create. And if I need to delete, I will delete. So this asks me to upload my CSV file. So let me go ahead and drag and drop my CSV file just like that. Okay, and then we have general preference. Import leads even if they are in the global block list. So we have a global block list. That means when people reply and they say, hey, unsubscribe, take me off the list, we add it to the global block list. So we're going to keep this off. Even if they're in subscribed list, we're going to keep this off. So I don't want to re-import the ones that already said no. If they bounce across our entire user base, I don't want to. Ignore the leads that exist in another campaign. So that's interesting because I have already one in the other campaign. So I'm going to say no. Okay, just because I want all 2,000. Just in case I use them in the previous campaign, doesn't matter. I want to. So this basically, if you don't want to repeat them, if they're already sent in a previous campaign, you would select that. In fact, I am going to ignore them, meaning that I'll get a 2,000. Doesn't matter, regardless. Okay, let's go save. Cool. So now we're going to go through the campaign sequence and then we launch. It's pretty straightforward, actually. You just need to like pretty much write your ad copy and that's it. Okay, so here's our CSV file, client ID. So we don't have any, that's if you're doing this for clients as an agency. I'm doing this for myself, right? So I don't have any clients. Map fields. Okay, so mapping fields is important. That's always an issue with kind of any kind of CSV files. Usually you want to, so you have, this is your CSV file, columns, and this is Smart Lead columns, and they have to match. So if I drag my, see how I have email, I don't have anything for the first and last. I don't have phone number, just because what I did was this was just emails, okay? Just emails. If you do that, if you only have a list of emails, then you can't really say, hey, first name, right, dynamically, hey, John, hey, Bob. So you just have to be like, hey there, blah, blah, blah. So when I was putting my list together, I didn't have any first or last names. I'm not going to put any, otherwise it would have, right? I'm just going to turn this off, right? Phone number, we don't have. Company name, we don't have. Website, LinkedIn profile, we don't have. Location, we don't have. We only have the email. Now, if I had, for example, in my CSV file, John tab Smith, right? Then I would, and these were actual names, I would probably put first name and last name here because, and as simple as just doing this, mapping it out, right? Now, just one thing to know with CSVs, they're pretty tricky. So if you make any changes to a CSV file, I like to initially start with a Google Sheet and then save as CSV. But if you're working with an existing CSV, if you close it, it's going to ask you to save it as a new one or delete the change. You're not deleting the original, right? You can't save to an existing CSV. It's like a final thing, right? You have to save it to a new one. So CSV is just like your final form, right? Usually you have it in either like a regular, like an Excel or a regular spreadsheet or a Google Sheet. Okay, anyways, map fields, we just need the email. We're going to go ahead and save and go next. And now it's importing the CSV files. It'll take some time to import. Please wait, take a break. It's a large, okay. If it's a large file, 20,000 leads. Okay, let me go ahead and pause this and we'll be back. Okay, so it uploaded pretty quickly. So it told me that it uploaded 199 out of 2000, which is great. It might go a lot less. Duplicate leads, 0. Existing count, 0. Blocked email count, 32. Interesting community bounce, blocked count. Okay, so that's probably like we've sent them before. Empty email count, duplicate leads in multiple campaigns. Okay, sure. And let's go. Okay, so now we've imported the leads and we go into the sequence. Okay, so I actually went back a step and I re-uploaded the list because I wanted to force it to show us this feature, this email verification credits. Remember when I went to my account and I showed you over here when I clicked on the top right and I showed you, so active leads is 2,000, email credits 6,000. So if we, that means 3 each we can send per month. To each lead we can send 3 emails. But this email verification credits 6,000. So what is email verification credits? If we go back to our sheet and we go to part 3 sending, we need to clean our list. Here we go. List cleaning. Okay, so that is very important. This is actually before sending, right? We need to clean our emails. Let me explain what that is. When you get a list from somewhere, it doesn't matter whether you scrape it, you buy it, you find it, you import it one by one, a bunch of those emails are bad emails. So meaning that it's probably not used by anyone, it's abandoned, the MX records are messed up. It's just gonna, how undeliverable, basically. You get that notification. This email cannot be delivered to the recipient that you sent it to, right? And when this happens more than, let's say, 5% of your list, that's a really bad thing and you can get shut down. So you really you want to keep your bounce rate much, much lower. And for example, here where we're sending 999, let's just say 2K, we want to keep it below 5%. So we want to have our bounce rate less than 100 of these emails should be bad. And we never know unless we clean the list. So list cleaning is a thing. And it used to be that you'd have to use an external party, like this one, Never Bounce, for example, and upload the list of leads before you send them. And I used them before. They're great, like they're fantastic. But the issue is that, so for example, if we go to pricing and I prove that I'm a human, I swear I'm a real boy. So this is how much they charge you, okay? So for the first 10,000, it's pay per email, basically, to clean the list. 10,000, it's 0.08 of a penny, which if we just copy this and we paste this into our calculator, right? 0.008. It seems like that's very little. It's not, it's a fraction of a penny, but you multiply it by, let's say we have 2,000 emails. Okay, that's $16. That's still not too bad. But if we did the same thing with, let's say 10,000 records, 10,000, then you'd pay $80. You pay $80. So now we no longer have to list clean outside. Okay, we still have to do it. We still have to clean the list, but we now have 6,000 email verification credits. Why is it 6,000? Because we can send 6,000 emails. We get 6,000 credits. So each credit, it seems like they're pretty much one for one. that we could use it to clean. And I linked, there is a help doc that's linked to the sheet, right, from SmartLead. And they say that it's an add-on service starting from 6,000 credits. So maybe initially you have to pay for it separately, but even if you do the math, okay, for 6,000, right? Let's just say if you were, it's 15 US dollars. If you were to use Never Bounce's price, okay, for 6,000, you'd have to pay $48. So even if you have to pay for this separately, this is 3 times cheaper inside the platform than paying for it outside with a third party like Never Bounce. Okay, so meaning that $15 divided by 6,000, you're paying 0.02 of a penny instead of 0.08. Okay, so even though this has a 525, this is actually cheaper than this. Okay, this is actually cheaper. This is cheaper than this. Okay, so that's why for 6,000 you would, even if you have to pay separately, you'd pay $15, and with Never Bounce for 6,000 you would have to pay $48. So yeah, but it seems like it's not separate. So let's go ahead. Too much talk about it. Email verification initiated successfully. So now it's, I guess in the background, it's going to be crunching through and verifying and cleaning the list. It's so good. It's so important. You really want to get it down under 5%. Okay? Because, yeah, and you don't have to do it externally anymore. That's very important. See, and I used up my credits. I used up my, this is every month, right? Because I uploaded it. So now that I uploaded it, my list, and I got it cleaned or cleaning, right? We have to create these sequences, okay? Let's do some basic math. How many, if we have 2,000 leads and we get 6, so let's just say 2. If we have 2 leads and we can send 6 emails total, then how many emails each lead gets? They get 3 emails. So it would make sense to build a sequence of 3 emails, right? So maybe send 1, it waits a day, send another one, and waits a day, sends another one. And then that's it. It doesn't bother that lead anymore. So what do we actually write? What is the ad copy? So the ad copy, now this is after you warmed it up for 2 weeks, right? You leave it alone for 2 weeks, your inboxes, and they get warmed up. So I won't send, when I'm sending, I won't send it to Greg Vasil because this is only a day old. Okay, so I'll only send it to the ones that have been warmed up for 2 weeks. So I actually have it here in part 3 sending. So let's just go through. So we've gone through how to scrape. We've gone through the setup, right? And inboxes and stuff. And now the best practices. First and foremost, it's 2 weeks inbox warm up, non-negotiable. Yeah, you can do 10 days, but it's better 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, the most you ever want to send is 50 per day, but it's more recommended to do 40 actually. So 40 cold and 30 warm. So yes, that's 70 total, but the 30 warm doesn't count towards your 50 max, right? Because the warm emails, they'll be replied to and people, the system will save it from the spam and everything, right? So you keep 30 per day. Everything's per 24-hour cycle per day, right? You keep 30 warm and you maybe start with 20 and then you go 30 and then you go 40 cold and maybe you could push it up to 50 cold. I usually keep it at 40, right? So see, cold to warm ratio 1:1. So that means, let's say 30 cold, 30 warm, or 1 to 0.07. So 40 cold, 30 warm, 0.7. So 0.7 would be like 30 divided by 40, hopefully 0.75. Okay, close enough. Yeah, so anyways, stick to that 40 and 30 or 50 and 30 max. No images, right? It's just text only. No HTML. No, like fancy like backgrounds and blah, blah. Just plain white, like basic plain text, right? 1 link per email only, and it's actually better not to have a link, okay? It's better not to have a link, and I'll show you how to do that. So best practices is, and they have a whole, in their help section, they have a whole sending guide, copywriting, frequently asked cold email master guides. There we go, copywriting. So you can always read through, educate yourself, because this will be important. Create cold email campaign, copywriting, syntax, cool. Yeah, so everything's gonna tell you how to do that. I recommend not having any links at all, or if you do, you have a maximum of 1. Okay, maximum of one. And that includes the unsubscribe link. So it's actually better to say you want them to reply. Instead of clicking on a link, you want them to reply. So either reply with yes if you're interested, or reply with no to be taken off the list. Okay, that's the unsubscribe. It's a verbal unsubscribe. Okay, and that's actually okay. It's borderline. There's the rules, the anti-spam rules, but actually, if you dig deep enough, from what I believe, and don't quote me on this, the unsubscribe has to be there, but it doesn't have to be a link. It could be a verbal unsubscribe. Okay, like reply with whatever. And if they reply, that's a bonus. In the eyes of the engines, that means that you're not spamming. Yeah, so let's just go through this. No images, keep it short, under 150 words. You can use the Hemingway app to simplify. Use complementary domains. That's more for the setup. That's fine. Don't use email aliases. Yeah, that's in the Google Suite and G Suite. You can create an alias. It's not a true unique inbox, so you want to keep it with that. Okay. Use spin tags. I'll explain to you shortly what that is. Set up this. We already did that. Use unsubscribed text, not links. See? At the bottom of the email, you can type, please respond with not interested if this isn't for you. Randomize the sending. This is a DNC list that you can set up inside of Smart Lead. That way, if they reply no, you add them to that list and never email them again. And then best time to send, depending on your niche, when they are. So that's more for the setup again before sending. And then here's the best practices for ad copy. And I'm actually borrowing this from Joel Kaplan, which coaches on agencies, and he has a cold email kind of chapter as well, and this is what he recommends. Now he has a little bit slightly alternative setup, and I would say this is more outdated. So he doesn't do any of this setup. What he has is he creates, let's say, 30 regular Gmail accounts, okay, and then he takes 10 emails at a time. So he'll literally go in and he'll be like, okay, I'm gonna take 10 of these guys, and then sends the email to himself and BCC, blind carbon copy, the 10. He pastes that in. And imagine how many, if you want to send 1,000 a day, you have to do that 100 times. Okay. So he uses VAs to do this for him. And this is the free, cheap. I don't know if this works at this point anymore, but that's how I would never do this myself personally, because I value my time. It's something maybe you can start yourself, but like he has VAs for sure. Like he doesn't do this, believe me. The way this is done, this is the way I teach it, and this is like industry best practices. This is to save you time and money and not go crazy with, imagine, like, or 2,000 per month, how many times you have to paste 10 at a time into a free Gmail inbox. Okay, cool. So let's go through his ad copy is on point. So don't offer leads depending on the niche, right? So for example, if you're a dentist, don't offer like dental leads, offer Invisalign patients, right? Appointments, closed deals, listings. For example, in real estate, it's also, I'll show you in a sec. So CTA is, for example, book a call is a little bit too much. So if you put a link and then you say, hey, click this link to book a call, you're asking for too much. It's better to say, hey, reply with a good number to reach you at, or reply with yes, and I'll reach out and we'll talk more. So for example, Jeff, I can guarantee you 10 booked appointments with bike shops next week if your niche is bikes. Give me a quick yes with your best number if you're interested. So here's Joel's golden email template. So it doesn't have the name, right? Hi, I'm contacting you because we're getting, insert biggest desire, home seller appointments for real estate. And we currently don't have a realtor in your area to send them to. Reply with a quick yes and your best phone number if you can take on more home seller appointments. Reply with a no if you want to be taken off the list. So this is the golden kind of template. And Joel says and subject headline is what they want most. So seller home appointments, Invisalign patients, not back adjustments for chiropractor, but probably like sciatica patients or knee hyaluronic acid. That's where your niche research comes in, right? Where you have to know what the niche wants that you're serving, like the best thing that they want. So for chiropractors, it's treatment plans, treatment patients, right? Not necessarily just one-off back adjustments. So it's super easy, right? Subject, what they want. Hi, I'm contacting you because we're getting this. And we're like overwhelmed. So you're not telling them, hi, we're an agency and we can get you lead generation and that. So that's not what we're doing, right? Because that's a dime a dozen. We're telling them, hey, we're getting this and we need somebody to take them off their hands. Are you interested? Okay. And then he signs off with sent from iPhone. So, for example, this is what I experimented with for my first campaign that I did. So, subject 100 plus motivated buyer leads, $2 to $4 exclusive buyer leads, right? 1 to 3 extra deals per month. So, deals, agents, real estate agents would want deals over leads for sure. You want to know what they want, so you give them what they want. Close 1 to 3 deals more per month. Get 1 to 3 extra listings per month. Add an extra 100K in GCI a year, blah, blah, blah. Now, of course, it's like in the hierarchy of real estate, leads and within leads, there's buyer and seller. So buyer leads are like the bottom of the barrel. Seller leads are a little bit better, obviously. Now, appointments are even better than that, right? Under contracts or deals closed are even better than that. And GCI, gross commission income, is even better than that, right? So if I'm offering them leads, buyer leads versus seller leads versus appointments, the kind of the weight of my promise is greater with, obviously, with if I offer them cash in hand, GCI. But at the same time, like, a lot of people are doing that, and a lot of people have never gotten that, and they're offering that. So it's disingenuous, right? It's not genuine. And so, yeah, I could put like, hey, I'll give you $1 million from my uncle. You have to be confident in that, because people will reply and be like, okay, tell me more. And then who have you done it for? And so fake it until you make it, but to a point. I tested these two separate ad copies. I'm contacting you because we're getting a lot of motivated buyer and currently seller leads. And then version 2, because we're getting a lot of appointments with buyers, right? Reply with a quick yes. Let's do that. Let's look at our template. So for example, I'm just gonna do a bunch of copy and paste. So let's go ahead and build this out. So I will do this for a real estate campaign. If you are in a different niche, you just tweak it slightly. So we're going to get the thing that they most likely want the most. So subject, close 1 to 3 extra deals per month. Okay. And then we're going to do the golden template, which is this. Hi, I'm contacting you because we're getting, and then I'm going to insert motivated seller leads. Okay. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Hi, I'm contacting you because we're getting motivated seller leads, not buyer leads, or even sellers. And we currently don't have a realtor in your area to send them to. Now, if you are specifically in Texas, then, or in Houston, then you would maybe put, instead of in your area, you'd put Houston. But because I'm not, like, I may do Florida one campaign, Texas, and that. So I just want to keep it pretty open. Reply with a quick yes and your best phone number if you can take on more seller appointments, right? Or treatment plan appointments, or patients, or whatever it is that your niche desires. Roofing. See, I wouldn't know because I'm not in the roofing niche, right? What do roofers want? You got to know that. Solar panels, maybe. I don't know. Take on more. What do we say? I'm currently now to send them to. Oh, they even now have composed with AI if you upgrade. So you don't need to do that. So let's go ahead and save changes. Okay. Now, do you see here before, if we save and go next, that's why I didn't want to go save. We're going to go into the final setup and then the final review. But I want to keep it on sequences because remember, we're going to get 3, like we have a chance to send up to 3 emails each. We have 2,000 leads. We can send 6,000 emails. So that means we can send just one, but why send one if we can get a sequence of 3? So we're going to add a step. We can add a step. Now, before we add a step, what we can do is we can add a variant. Oh, this is interesting. Before we do that, yeah, we can click on this. This is cool. We can click on this ABC, and then you will see it's like a Hemingway built into this, or an SEO checker. 55 words, 0 passive voice, 0 is hard to read, 1 are very hard to read. Okay, I guess there's like a long sentence. Well, you could change it, put a period, and then very hard to read. It's showing you we currently, okay. So you can mess around with this, but it's not a deal breaker. What's really important is the spam checker, okay? So for example, if I Interesting. Choose a different word to avoid spam. So this is a built-in spam checker in the ABCs, and is going to tell you which words are not good. Phone. The best, maybe we can change to cell number. Okay, cool. Or mobile. Mobile, right? In the States, we say mobile. Mobile. Off. Where's the off? Because we're kind of want to be taken off the list. How would I removed? Removed from. Maybe remove's gonna show up. Anything with money. Pay. Payment. Oh, pay is okay. Payment. Loan. Like these words, they're spam trigger words. So you really want to avoid them. You really want to avoid them. They're not absolute deal breakers, but yeah, it's better not to have any of these spam words. Now, let's click this cog for a second. So, campaign name, we can name this. For example, campaign 1, and then you could say seller leads, and then August, for example. Stop sending messages when your lead replies to a message. That's good. What shouldn't we track? Don't track email opens. Don't track link clicks. I keep this off. Boost your deliverability by sending emails in plain text without absolutely 100%. That was one of the things that we said. Prioritize sending pattern. Okay, this we need to upgrade. Company level auto pause. If one of the leads from the same domain replies, we can leave that alone. Enhance email sending deliverability. We can leave that alone. Intelligent AI lead categorization. Don't categorize lead. That's upgrade. I mean, you can if you have the 99 plan, the 94 plan. Rate auto protection, high bounce rates. Okay, I would go 5%. Okay, auto pause protection. Add unsubscribe. Can plain text emails turned off. Okay, so I guess this is a link that lets you click it, but we don't need to because we have the reply with no. Okay, email accounts. So we want not the one that I just added. Okay, because that hasn't been 2 weeks. And then webhooks. So webhooks are pretty cool that you can, if you have, for example, a CRM, you can send them to a CRM when they reply, stuff like that. So that's just the general. We're going to save. Now, so for the variant, this means that we can mess around with, so send a slightly different subject headline. Okay. So for example, this one, close 1 to 3 extra deals. Maybe we can try 5 extra deals per month. So with variants, one person's going to get this one, the next person's going to get this one, and then you're going to see which one's a better subject headline. So what I usually do is I use the same body, I just test the subject headline. Okay, so I use the same body copy, I test the subject headline, right? So let's say, for example, like that. And you can have another variant. And this is still all part of the first kind of email, right? We're going to create 3 emails. So I do that like that. Okay. Let's just have these 2. Or I could say, hey, close, add an extra 100K in commissions and income per year. Let's just say. And then the spam checker might actually, I don't think it checks the subject headline. So a good way would be to copy and paste this into here. See, income and extra. It doesn't like that. Yeah. Okay. In GCI, gross commission income. It could be for a medical client, could be in patient revenue or something like that. Revenue is not a spam keyword. That's good. But income is. Income is. Yeah. Earn. Yeah. Pay maybe, pay may not be. Okay, so you have to play around with it. So these are different variances. Now, you could also do what's called syntax, and they have it here in the help guide. Okay, and syntax is you just do this, you copy and paste this. So instead of hi, you could do, so see they're separated by, so first of all, they're in these curly brackets, right? And they're separated by this little pipe thingy. So that means it's gonna, one of the things that spam bots check for, or spam engines like spam filters inside of Gmail or other emails check for, is everybody getting the same email. Like thousands of people are getting the same email. That's pretty much spam. You know what I mean? So this spin tax changes it up slightly. Changes it up slightly. And somebody's going to get hi, somebody's going to get hello, somebody's going to get hey. You know what I mean? You could also do that in some other areas. For example, here we're getting, and then you can insert spin tax. Motivated sellers, put in a pipe, seller leads, pipe, buyer leads, curly bracket. So somebody's gonna get, we're getting motivated sellers, getting seller leads, getting buyer leads. It's in a way another variant, right? Like we're doing, but it's inside the ad copy, which is like another way to add the variation. And then you have these variables. I don't use them. Email, I'm not sure what they, okay, this is part of the subject. So I've never used these. Clean HTML, insert variables. So here you can also insert variables like day of the week. Oh, so for example, instead of putting today, or like this will dynamically put Tuesday if today's Tuesday. So that's what the variables do. Don't be scared of variables. Time of the day. For example, let's have a meeting on day of the week at time. But because the way we're sending our emails, right, with these, keep it very simple. We don't need to mess with this. Email templates, more text, images, do not, links. We don't need more rich. We don't need more paragraph. So just keep it super, super simple. Remember here, we enabled plain text, right? Without HTML. That way, none of these will anyways work because we've disabled HTML. So that's what spin tax does, right? We've talked about that. Even inside our cold email sheet, we have this part where it says, hey, you can improve deliverability by using spin tax. And you can add more than two, would be the smallest number, right? You could go hi, hello. Then you could do that, and you could add 3 or 4 or 5, as many. Just the beginning and the ending have to end with the curly brackets, and the middle you have to separate by the pipe. The pipe's on your keyboard. If you shift, and it's just above the enter key if you're looking for it. And if it has a space, then it has a space. What's up? Like you could literally, what's up, man? Or what's up, person? Okay, so back to this. So then you could have multiple variants for the same email, right? Meaning that different leads will get that. Now, add a step. I don't know what this is, a new one, manual step, email, right? That would be a second message that the same lead gets. That would be a second message that the same lead gets. Now, for the second message leave the subject line empty if you'd like this email to be reply as same thread. So it nests it into the same thread. Else add a subject line to create a new thread. Gmail has this feature where it puts the same emails in a thread together. So you could leave it blank. You could play around with it. So leave the subject blank if you want. See, as soon as I start typing, this goes away. So it will have a new subject headline. You could put, for example, did you get my last email? Or what I would do is just put another variation of the first one. So close 1 to 3 extra deals. We could put whatever it is that, so you need to build a bank of your subject headlines, right? So let's just say 10 seller appointments. 10 seller appointments, question mark. Or yeah, something like that. And then you could have a slightly different variation of whatever it is that you wrote here. For example, you can copy and paste and then put this here. Now, I've heard others teach that the first one, the initial email, is the offer, whatever it is, 10 appointments, GCI income, seller leads, right? And then the subsequent ones are just a reminder, hey, did you see my last email? Did you see my last email? Did you see my last email? You could do that. So you could go like hi, or if you want spin tax, right? Or hey there, whatever. Hey there, let's say. By now you shouldn't be scared of syntax, right? Syntax is this, and then a pipe, and then hi there, for example. And then you could do that, right? Did you get my last email? Or you could get creative. Sorry, we didn't get in touch. Just bumping this up to the top. Hey, I'm still waiting. The leads are still waiting for you. Are you still just making sure? That's where I leave it open to you. Did you get my last email? Or you can also put a spin tax here. Did you get my last email? Question mark, pipe. Are you still taking on more patients, Doc? Are you still taking on more patients? More knee pain patients? If it's a chiropractor, they love knee pain patients, right? Because it's a whole treatment cycle. And then you close the spin tax. So whatever it is, you can put it in here. I would delete this. We currently don't have a realtor, or definitely don't use spin tax to put realtor or chiropractor, because some will get the realtor, some will get chiropractor. It has to be one niche, right? So yeah, keep it simple. Reply with a quick yes, reply with a no. Thanks, Greg. Okay, so that's it. Add a variant. You can do the same. I would do the same body copy, just a slightly different. Let's do 10 buyer appointments, 10, or let's do, instead of 10 seller appointments, let's do 100 seller leads, question mark. Okay, now I'm not giving you like a exact copy verbatim, right? Because I want you to have your own copy. And to, so again, this is one email that they're getting, and this is a second email in the sequence that they're going to get, the same lead they're going to get. So 2,000. So this is, if we have 2,000 leads, so this is going to be 2,000 emails sent. This is going to be 2,000 emails sent to the same 2,000. So in total, now we have 4,000, right? So if our plan allows for 6,000, that means that we can have one more step. So add a step. And see, we have a wait for how many days in between. Usually you can do 1 or 2 days, add a step, and then I'm not sure what the manual step is. Manual step, I have no idea, because they're adding new things all the time. So it's email. So let's stick with email. 1 more day. And then you could do like subject, last chance. Okay. Last chance, or action required, something like this, or blah 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 blah. And then you can do a final, hey, are we breaking up? I don't know if you should send this, but I've seen this, and this always gets a laugh. When I get it, I'll be like, oh, like that. And then again, you reiterate what the final thing is. It's always kidding. Okay, I don't want to get too funny about it. Kidding, still love you. Let's just say, hey, this will be my final attempt to reach you with the seller leads. I have no choice but to give them to another agent. PS. And then you sign off. It's always good to have a PS. And then you say John. Just make sure this matches. It will be hard to match it to. Oh, so here's where this comes in. This is, remember how, okay, we went to our email accounts, and over here we have, so Michael Lawrence, it has a signature. Okay, remember we put the signature Michael, because remember, these emails will be sent by all the accounts, right? So we don't know we can't put John, because it could come from an inbox from Mary, right? So here's where we put a variable, and we can put signature. I've done this before. Oh, I believe that, okay, we're gonna put it's as an option somewhere. We'll find it. The signature will come. PS, reply with a quick yes to start. Reply with your phone number, and remember, phone number got flagged as spam, so we use mobile. So where's the get? 10 seller appointments. Are you taking on more new patients? Remove from the list to get. Where's the get? Did you get my last email? Oh, when we introduced the spin tax. Okay, did you receive? So there's always a way to, and I encourage you to always take the headline, because spam doesn't check it, and to paste it in the body and see because if I put the word earn in the headline, in the subject, it's not going to show up as spam. But if I post this in here, it will show up. So we just paste it and delete it just to check for spam. Okay. All right. So we have sequence step 1 with 2 subject headlines. We wait for 1 day, right? So this is 1. We have sequence step 2. That's we're building out our sequence, right? With the ad copy. And then we can have another one, right? So that's, I thought we added it. Yeah, we added one more. There you go. And we can add a variant. All right, cool. Please go ahead and do that. And this ad copy again will be at the bottom of the cold email, including the real estate, courtesy of Joel Kaplan. Thank you so much for coming up with this. But a lot of people in the industry use this. Now, if you're not, this is perfect for B2B clients, agency. If you're an agency serving B2B clients, small business clients. If you're using this for something else, then you have to come up with your own ad copy, but it's pretty much the same thing. Now, how many steps in the sequence you should have? It depends. Which plan do you have? If you have this plan, remember how it allows for 150,000 emails sent to 30 active leads. So if we do 150 divide by 30, you could send a sequence of 5 leads, right? 5 emails, not just 3. So that's what dictates how many we have. So then with this, we can keep going and we can keep adding stuff. Or if you want 5 sequences, that's fine, right? You just can't send them to 2,000 leads, right? Because you're bound by 6,000 emails per month. So if you want 5, then you'd have to reduce the number of leads. Okay, so let's just say, so again, we have the steps, the sequence steps, which are separated by this. I would say 3 to 5 max. You don't need more. Then each one we have variants, and the variants are the headlines. I would build it out a little more, maybe at least 3 variants of 3 different subject headlines, right? That's the most important thing. The subject headlines makes it or breaks it, right? If it's good enough, then they will read your email. If it's not, they won't open it. Okay. The body you can pretty much keep the same. The spin tags, remember, we can do this with these curly brackets and the pipes for the spin tags. And then, so this composed with the AI, this is brand new. I haven't tried it. You can try it if you're messing around with it. And then that's it. So then we go save and next. Okay, so we moved on from sequences to the setup. Okay, sender accounts. So we're going to choose which sender accounts. So this gives you a chance to select all 7, let's just say. And remember, these ones have 2 weeks of warm up and this one doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, right? So it should be actually 6, right? Schedule campaign. So this is good. So choose the time zone of well, unless you're going nationwide, then choose your time zone. But let's say, so I usually go by state. So if I'm doing this campaign for Florida realtors, right, then I'll keep it on Eastern. And if I'm doing it for Texas, then I'll keep it on Central, or Cali, I'll keep it on Pacific. But let's just say you choose your thing. Send, which days do you want to send this on, and the times. This will be dictated by your niche. If they're in the office during these times, so for example, if they are an accountant, then you want to probably send them during the office hours, 9 to 5 probably, right? You don't want to send it in the evening or at night. With realtors, they're not office bound, so I really don't have a thing for them. So actually, I checked my actual realtor campaign that I've sent. So I was sending it in Eastern time, Monday through Saturday, because often realtors work on the weekends, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's a 24-hour clock. So 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And an email will be sent every 15 minutes, I believe. Okay, so you can, 16 triggers will be sent. So this basically shows you, because there's 3 20-minute in an hour, right? And then there's 12 hours, so 3 times 12 is 36. So if we change this to, let's say, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m., this will be 33. And I believe you can select this either as 15. So see, they have minimum time is 3. Reducing the time gap less than 5 minutes may damage your account reputation. You can go with 10, you can go with 15, you can go with 20. That means the interval of how often it will be sent. I think 15 is fine. You can leave it on 15. Okay. Let's say you have 9 till 8, 15-minute thing, and their AI introduces 30 to 60-second variance trigger. Set campaign start date. So you could, for example, start tomorrow. It's always a good idea to start the next day or next week on Monday, wherever. And then this max number of new leads reached per day per campaign. Okay. Max number of new leads. So this number, they start with 100. So I have here 1,000. It's like the upper number. Now, if you already have your ad accounts here, you see how you have this daily limit where you set it in the general level, right? Not your warm up, right? This is not at the general level where we have 30. Remember what we talked about in here, right? You will want to go and have 50 max, maybe starting with 30, moving up to 40, and then 50 max per day per email inbox. Okay. So I have it at 30, right? 30, and then we can raise it to 40 and 50. So that means 30, and we have 6 inboxes, right? If you do the math, 3 times 6 is 18, 180, right? Just to verify, 30 times 6 is 180. So this is how many total per day will be sent. So that's why I have it at 1,000. So that way I don't have, if I put it at 100, it would mean that once it reaches 100, it won't go past and it won't hit that 180. So you want this number to be higher. You can make it 10,000. That way you never have to worry about it. That's like an overall throttle kind of safety feature. But here's where you set it. So this never should ever go beyond 50, right? So the most you could ever send, remember, is you could go 50 here and then warm up 30 here. The only reason I have 50 enabled here is because I don't have any running right now. So I changed it back to 50, right? But when you're actually sending emails, this warm up should be 30 maximum, and this general should be 50, right? Just like we have here, right? And to be safe, 40 and 30. But if you really want to push it, then it's 50 and 30, right? But I just have 40 because you don't want to get flagged as spam, okay? So where were we? So I'm going to put this like, whatever, 10,000. So pretty straightforward, Monday through Friday. If you like realtors, they do Saturday as well. The time zone is probably best to have the client's time zone. So if you're doing a specific state, if you're doing nationwide, just choose yours. The time when they're active, so maybe 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Keep this on 15 or 20, I would say. Starting date is tomorrow, that's fine. Or if it's the weekend, it's Monday. And then this number is basically the cap, and we just want to leave it uncapped. You could put like infinity, but there may come a time when this will be useful. So just put 10,000 for now, and then let's go ahead and save. So now that we've done the import, the sequence, the setup, we cleaned our list, we wrote the sequences, and the ad copy is pretty simple, and then configure settings. This is the same as, I believe, the cog that we had, right? So we don't have to worry about this now as we did it. Emails and webhooks. Okay, that's cool. That's good to know. So we're going to go ahead and close. And then we can go save and next, and then we'll be in the final review. Okay, final review. So it's just showing how, so it's showing the leads, the emails, and then what they're going to see on desktop and email. Now mine is empty for some reason, but yours is going to show the stuff that you fulfilled. Okay, always do a send, and then you can see how we have in the sequence, we have second email, third email, and stuff like that. Now mine is bugging for some reason, but yours will be fine after you filled it out, right? I may be missing something from the import, or because I already have those leads imported in. And then you just do, so definitely send a test it to yourself so you could see how it looks like. All right, you could see the desktop and the email. You have the final chance to review it, and then you go ahead and save, and then you hit schedule your campaign, right? And then inside your campaign, you will see when you click on it, right? So first of all, when we're in campaigns, we're gonna see this, right? So you're going to see any existing campaigns. Now you may have to delete old ones depending on your plan. Let's say you maxed out the 2000. If you want to put a new one, you may have to then delete it. You may have to go to all leads and delete all of these, okay, to import new ones. The system will tell you, right? But once you're in email campaigns and you click on your campaign, this is what you could see, like the overall statistics, the kind of reply rate. For example, I'll show you on an existing one, the one that has a 72% open rate. You can see the analytics. You could see, maybe you have to put the date and stuff like that because this is not a recent one. Yeah, you could see which, you can even see which of your email variances. So you have, I only had one email, but you're going to have email 1, email 2, email 3, and then A, B, C, or D is the variation of the subject headline that we created, right? So you could see which one performed best. So I would say that I even had one at 76% open rate. That's amazing. So that's super cool that you can see it here and you can see the list of leads. You may have to, like I said, delete. So here's where you can pause your campaign and resume your campaign, stop your campaign. You may have to delete the campaign and the leads if you're making a new one and you don't have space. So just FYI. And then what's cool is that, so you can see your stats here in email campaigns. You can see your email accounts. Obviously, we've seen this many times. You can see all the leads that you've imported. These two, I usually don't check. Global analytics, that's across all your campaigns. But this one, master inbox, okay? This is super awesome. And I touched on this briefly recently. So as these are sent, okay, they're going to go in the sent file. Okay, so you're going to see like basically the email that, hello agents, blah, blah, blah. Now yours is not going to have a link, right? And then when they reply to any of them, so you have, let's say 100 inboxes, right, connected to Smart Lead, and you're sending all of these emails, and then they reply to any of your emails in any inboxes, it's going to go in this unified master inbox, which is super cool. And you can see in the unread replies, right? So inbox are all the replies, and unread is the ones that you haven't opened yet, unopened, right? So that's super awesome. So you can always open and see what they replied with, right? Take note, I have changed, blah, blah. And then you can tag them. See how it has lead category, wrong person, out of office, do not contact. You can tag them manually, I believe. I don't think they have an automated feature, but they may, right? So whatever it is, so wrong person, let's say, it's going to give this tag, and then you can reply to them right here out of this box, right? You can just go and you can reply to them right from here to blah, 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 and it will from that specific inbox. So if they reply, now there's a few options. If they reply yes, then you could reply with what's a good number to reach you at. You could call them. And then usually you invite them to some kind of Zoom call, right? With the sales call. So you can call them, try to sell them on the phone, or you could call them and, like I said, invite them to a Zoom call, sales call where you sell them, or you could maybe send them a Zoom link. And then, but the point is you want to go from email to Zoom sales call and show them your system and then convert them to a paying customer, whether or not you call them between that or not. But the point is go from email to Zoom, usually with a phone call in between is good. You know what I mean? Phone call could be in quick, like 5 to 10 minutes, just maybe identify their pain points, what they're looking for, and be like, let's schedule a Zoom, schedule a Zoom. If they're like, but how does your system work? Schedule a Zoom, right? And then on the Zoom, you're always video call, it's more relaxed. You can show them the system, ask them any questions, what their pain points are, take them from where they're at right now and their pain point to the promised future with your vehicle, right? The whole thing, the journey you could do on Zoom, right? I also know my friend Jasper talked about that when, for example, somebody replies yes, he'll just go and he'll cold call them. And whether that's on you have a list, if their phone number is there, you call that, or you literally go to Google and you find them on Google Maps, whatever it is, you can do that. And if you cold call them and you can be like, hey, can I talk to John? And then be like, yeah, this is John. Hey, John, we just talked on you replied to my email. I was wondering if you'd like to check out this thing, this website that I'm building you, or if you'd like to check out the paid ads case study that I'm offering, blah, 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 blah. Right? Or whatever it is you promised in the email, the 10 seller leads, right? I was wondering if, tell me, how are you generating your leads right now? Oh, you're not generating. Okay. We have the system. We're getting seller leads for realtors, blah, 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 blah. When's a good time to hop on a Zoom call? And talk about it. Oh, right now you have a little time. Do you have time right now? Perfect. Let's go. I'll shoot you a Zoom link. Is that email is a good one? You already have that email on file. Perfect. Great. Let's go. Okay. So that's the whole point. The whole point of cold emails is to get them to a phone call and to a Zoom call eventually, right? It's not to sell them something by the email or send them a booking link. That usually is not going to work because people don't like clicking links. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I hope you understood this. If you have any questions, post them below this video, please. Again, you're going to go through 3 distinct parts. The first part is getting the list of leads, right? That's so important. You're either going to scrape it yourself, you're gonna buy it online, or you're gonna, 2 ways to scrape it really, or you're gonna pay somebody to do it. I would probably just pay somebody to do it at this point, to be honest. Then part 2, you're gonna set up your system. You're gonna use either Smart Lead or Instantly, right? In this case, I showed you how Smart Lead works, but Instantly is the other option. And then you're gonna buy a few burner domains, depending on how many inboxes you want, right? Remember, you can't have more than 2 or 3 inboxes per domain, right? Don't use your main domain, whatever you do. And then you will either go with Google Workspace, G Suite, right? Not Gmail, but G Suite, or Inframail. Remember, Inframail is the one that allows you to have unlimited, for a flat fee of $100 a month. You can have unlimited, and then depending on who you go with, you have to set up the DMARC, DKIM, SPF, and MX. Right? If you go with Inframail, they do automatically, it's done for you. If not, you have to set it up for each domain, not for each inbox. Right? And then you add the tracking, and then you add all of your email accounts to Smart Lead, right? You can either do it one by one, like this, like we talked about here or here, or you could do it in bulk by dropping a CSV. Now, this CSV is not the leads, right? This is your inbox CSV, which something like Inframail will provide for you. Or you do it one by one by clicking this one, right? And then you set up your stuff as needed, right? You can configure your inbox as we talked about, each one. For general, you want to do 30 to 50 here. Okay, and for warm up, you want to do again 30 to 50 here. And then you let it rest like a nice piece of cooked steak for 2 weeks and warm up and send to itself and each other. And don't freak out, because if you open these emails and they have like random email inboxes inside them, like, hey, Mary, are you coming to the party invitation that blah, blah, blah. And they'll have this weird, what is it, cloth piece in every email. That's how you can identify that it's a warm-up email. You know, if it's a brand new inbox, nobody else is sending you emails, believe me, other than the system. Okay, and when 2 weeks are gone, you go to email campaigns, and then you hit create campaign. You upload your leads. Very important that you use your credits to clean them, or you pay if it's extra. The $15, you would have to pay more outside, believe me. So you use it to clean the list. That's the email verification, right? Verify your emails. And then you basically do the ad copy like we talked about. You tell them, hey, so you in the sequences, if you have the lowest plan, you can have 3 sequence steps. If you have higher, you can get up to 5. And then you can just offer them what they actually want. Get to the point. Keep it short and sweet, right? We're not waffling about things here. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in, and this was the best darn cold email masterclass on YouTube. Thank you. I'm Greg Vasil, and if you have any questions, please post them below. Love you lots. Take care. Bye-bye.